Welcome back to the Red Zone. We wrap things up with North Central College Sports Information Director, Clark Teuscher. Clark, thanks for joining us again.
Thanks for having me.
So the men's cross-country team comes away from Notre Dame victorious after winning the Gold Division race.
Yeah, you know, the first time they've won that meet since 2009. They won the national championship that year. So certainly a good sign. Certainly since John Crane, who's been the top runner throughout the early season, ended up being held out of this meet as just kind of as a precautionary measure. They had a lot of other guys step up and perform really well against a quality field.
Well, the Red Zone was there to see the men's cross-country team race to victory at Notre Dame. Let's go to the highlight. Head coach Al Carius and the men's cross-country team for North Central College heading to South Bend, Indiana to take on the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame and 18 other schools from all divisions of the NCAA. 143 runners towing the line at the start of the Gold Division race. Tim Hurd and Dan Curley trying to get off to a good start for the 8-kilometer journey. At the 1-mile marker, there's a big crowd in front, but Hurd and Curley staying right there with them. Jonathan Muscati, Travis Morrison, Ryan Root, and Roger Klein not far behind. At the 2-mile marker, Curley and Hurd are looking comfortable in the front pack, and Muscati and Morrison are still within striking distance of the top 10. Matt Walters of Windsor, Cosmas Abayu of Missouri, Kansas City out in front at mile 4. Curley and Dan Kerr battling for third. Hurd and Muscati both moving up in the pack at this mile marker. At the finish, it's Matt Walters of Windsor taking the crown in the Gold Division race with a time of 24 minutes, 28 seconds. Dan Curley, the leader for the Cardinals, finishing in third with a time of 24 minutes, 40 seconds. Jonathan Muscati showing a nice kick at the end as he finishes in 7th in 24:57. Tim Hurd in 9th, 1 second later. Cardinals run away with the team title. So Clark, you mentioned John Crane, but also the Cardinals were without last year's best finisher at Nationals, Matt Perez. But really, the Cardinals have been showing their depth this year. Even though those guys aren't around, they're still competing and winning races. Yeah, it's been a real nice luxury to not have to rush anybody back. You know, with John specifically, there's nothing really major. It's just one of those things that if it was a national championship meet this week, he probably would have raced. But as it is, you know, they've got a meet in a couple of weeks that's going to be held on the same course as the regional championship in November. So they want to give everybody who can run that meet a chance to run on that course. So you know, cooler heads prevailed, and they exercised some discretion there and held John out of the meet. I'm sure he wanted to run. You know, Matt's another one. You know, they're trying to bring him along in the best manner possible for him in the long term, not just in this cross country season. So they'll make that decision when they feel it's appropriate. You know, in talking with the Cardinals after the race, going into the last mile and a half, they knew they were behind, but yet they were able to surge ahead. What does that say about the experience of this team to know where they're at in the team standings during the race? A lot of experienced guys, you know, Jonathan Muscati and Tim Hurd, the 2 and 3 finishers, are seniors and kind of stepped up and, you know, have kind of learned how to gauge where they're at in the field and kind of keep track of that mentally as they go along. And part of that also goes back to their training. You know, they train to be able to be strong in the last mile to a mile and a half of a 5-mile race. And I think you saw a lot of that on Friday. And the women's volleyball team might be turning a little heads nationally as they move to 4-0 in the CCIW with a big win. Yeah, the straight set victory at Augustana on Tuesday night. They improved to 4-0 in the conference. They're going to kind of get a chance to see where they're at. The top 3 teams that were forecasted at the beginning of the season in the conference, Millikan, Carthage, and Elmhurst, are all still left on the schedule. So they're going to have a chance here these next 3 weeks to run through that and see if they can seal up a conference championship. You know, and they've really been meshing experience with youth well. They've got, you know, seniors like Janae Harner, but then they've got the younger girls like Kedron Orison and Laura Kluk. Yeah, I think facing these teams late in the season is going to be an advantage for this team because they've had a chance to really gain some experience for these incoming players and really kind of gel as a unit as they've done. The top 9 or 10 players that comprise the varsity rotation have really gotten to the point where they're playing very, very well together. Thanks, Clark. Thank you. The Cardinals head to Millikan University on Saturday to start off their 3-game road trip against the Big Blue. Kickoff set for 1 p.m. I'm Mark Dahlquist. We'll see you next week on the Red Zone.